I remember journaling each day exactly what I ate, 300 calories, and I would work out 45 minutes. I was 85 pounds.
As a child, Katlyn Bryan often felt out of place.
Growing up, I was an overweight girl, and on top of all of that, appearance-wise, I had a speech impediment. It was such a target for kids, so I was bullied really extensively all the way through middle school.
Katlyn started cutting her calories as a way to have control in her life, but soon it declined into an eating disorder.
We did a church fast. I used it as an excuse on my continued journey to cut back on food. I got on the scale and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm skinnier. I've lost 10 pounds. And what began as that, I said, I'll extend this because I had a pageant coming up. I'll extend this to get skinnier. What began as something I would say that is positive of eating healthier, it slowly became these negative habits that cycled down. I began to say I can't control many other things, but this is one thing I can control.
Katlyn overcame her speech impediment, joined the cheerleading squad, and won her first pageant at 15. She kept losing weight, telling herself the dieting was healthy, but it had become an unhealthy obsession.
I was like, the thinner I am, the more beautiful I am. This is awesome. And that just began a negative cycle in my life that caused cut back of calories until I was 85 pounds.
The eating disorder had taken over Katlyn's life. She quit cheering and stopped hanging out with her friends. She even began to lose her faith in God.
I was so fearful that someone would interrupt my diet, my plan, and so I really became a recluse. I withdrew from everyone so that I could focus on my calorie count and my exercising. I closed everyone out, so shutting out God seemed like the natural thing to do.
Katlyn's mother worried her obsession had gone too far and took her to a doctor.
He looked at me right then and there and said, if you don't gain weight, you are going to die. He also said you would never be able to have children if you go along any further. I remember sitting there and thinking, they just want me to be fat. They want me to be out of control.
Katlyn realized if she wanted to live, she had to surrender her obsession and commit to healing.
My meals began to be monitored, and I had to get weighed every single week. But then after month 2, I remember being in church service and just journaling. God, this is how I feel. I'm mad at everybody. Everybody's trying to make me to eat. And I remember feeling God's presence for the first time for myself.
Katlyn began trusting God and going to the Bible to find help. As she stayed diligent in her healing process, her future began to look bright.
Galatians 5:1, it talks about how it is for freedom that Christ set us free. And I knew that with an eating disorder and mental illness, it was chains that were holding me back. But Christ called me to walk in freedom. And so holding on to that promise, even through the hardest times, was a huge factor in me healing. It was learning how to walk with God. And He became very real to me during this process because I learned how to hold God's hand instead of seeing Him from a distance. And so I went to college, majored in biblical studies, stayed involved in pageantry, which was super fun, but now I was doing it in a healthy manner.
The stress of college life caused Katlyn to fall back into her old habit of extreme calorie counting.
When you struggle with something like an eating disorder or a mental illness, you're never too far away. And the enemy is going to try to come in, even in the best places, to bring your past back to you. We had a prayer chapel on our campus, and I remember going in there, and God said, you're better than this. You have already overcome this. Let's move forward. I just snapped out of it. I'm reminded of Proverbs, where it says, the prudent foresee evil and plan ahead. I know that it's prudent to have those guards so that you don't fall again into the same trap.
Katlyn met Jeremy and they married after college. Despite the doctor's concern that her eating disorder could cause infertility, they were able to have a baby.
God blessed us with our son, Asher, and it's just a picture of God's love for me and God's love for us, that He is the one who has the last say in His promises.
Katlyn says her relationship with God has grown, and now she wants to help others know Him better.
You know, in Hebrews 12, it says that Jesus, for the joy that was set before Him, endured the cross. And one thing that was key in my healing journey was getting a vision for my future. I knew I wanted to be on Christian television. I knew I wanted to be a speaker and an author. But guess what? I had to be alive to do that. And so in order to do that, I got a vision for my future, and I endured the pain, not the pain of the cross like Jesus did, but the pain of my healing process. So you see, when God brings you through something, He's got a plan for you to do something. So I want to encourage girls today. I want them to see me as someone who's the joy on the other side of the pain you can go through to heal and become all God has created you to be, because you were made on purpose and for a purpose. God has a plan for your life, and you can heal in order to do that.